First Contact with Joshua Pope.
Hello and welcome to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? Welcome. Today is the 9th day of November 2016 on the Jewish calendar. A little bit different. Today is the 20th of Cheshvan. Our astrology for today, our sun sign is in right here, over here in Scorpio. It's water sign. We're now past the halfway point by a couple of days. Remember, there's 30 degrees, so every day this progresses 1 degree. You can follow this grid along just by putting in the dates, and you can see how day by day the energies move and interact. Okay, so we've got the sun here in Scorpio, and our moon sign today has progressed from Cancer on into Leo. Leo's a fire sign, so we've come from water, emotions, and now we're going into fire, ideas. Okay? And then as always, I like to relate them to the tarot because it's all one system that works together. Okay? Death is emotions. You got the bones because you're getting into the matter of things. The foundation of all things is being affected by the emotions that are going on. The number 13 of this card represents unity and love. So the whole concept is all about a peaceful unification of the self with the self. Okay, and all of these symbols around here simply represent that transformation. So our conscious mind has been dealing with that the last 17 days. We're going to be doing so for the next 13 more days. And as we continue to go through this emotional process, things come up from deep in the surface because it's a water sign. So imagine things buried deep, down deep in the water, and they rise to the surface slowly. And as they rise to the surface, we get to see what they are and then deal with them accordingly. Sometimes they're nothing. Sometimes they're a big thing. But usually what they are, they're emotions that we've spent a great deal of our life pushing away from us. So right now, during this time of Scorpio, as we do every year, we have that moment to process this energy, process this emotions. And right now our moon sign is in Leo, which is a fire sign, which is telling us we need to tame that energy within us that's ready to jump out there, that lion, okay? We all have that lion energy within ourselves that's ready to roar, but we've got to have the feminine aspect of ourselves, our imagination and creativity, our nurturing instinct. We have to be able to nurture that and be able to allow that to move forward without all of the aggression. Now, at times, maybe the aggression might be necessary. At times, maybe the complete opposite is necessary. But generally speaking, we get our greatest strength when we can tame. I like to think this card with the phrase, the strength of God is like a lion. You got the lion, but you've got the creativity of the feminine spirit there helping to move that forward. So that's where we're at today. We've got water signs, and then we've got that fire sign injected in. So if you look at it, the conscious mind as the overruling focus that we are dealing with energetically, and the day-by-day changes within that are the moon sign. So we're in that water sign for this period, but now we've got a little fire injected into that water. And we'll see where it takes us today, okay? Okay, there's something to be aware of as we move forward. So, moving on into the news stories for today. Obviously, the biggest story is that 1 year ago today, we all heard the official news that Donald J. Trump was the president-elect. We also came to understand on that day that Hillary Clinton was not the president-elect. And that was a wonderful thing. Had Hillary gotten into office, we'd be living in a different world right now. I don't know if you realize that or understand that. I think it's easy to get caught up in the politics of this side is right and this side is wrong kind of way of looking at things. But if you step back away from the politics and you simply look at what is going on, you find out that Hillary was bringing in a whole lot of energies that were not beneficial to American energies. So it had nothing to do with right or left. It had to do with America versus a larger faction, a New World Order. George H.W. Bush, he was the one who talked about New World Order, and then Hillary Clinton was going to be that final piece of that puzzle. Interestingly, the ending of her first term coincides with this 30-year plan the Muslim Brotherhood had put in place to take over America. And then when you look at all of Hillary's connections to the Saudis, to the Muslims, to the Muslim Brotherhood, to what we know now about those that were planted in, we would have been screwed, blued, and tattooed if we had really gotten in bed with Hillary Clinton at the election time. However, things change. Donald J. Trump is the president, and I believe that he was hand-selected by God for that position. And I believe, as I've said numerous times, that he is playing the role of Archangel Michael, fighting the multi-headed beast. And the beast, as we see, continues to attack him from all over the place, but he continues to prevail. From anti-Trumper to anti-Trumper, he continues to prevail. You have the combination Trump-Pence, trumpets. The trumpet of God has blown. It has made an announcement, and that's not going to get stopped. Man can't stop that. Man is trying to stop that, but man can't stop what God has started. All right, so let's look over here at some interesting articles. This one is 27 excuses Hillary Clinton has made for her 2016 election loss. Just thought it would be fun to reminisce down the lane of all of the excuses that this sore loser has. Since losing the 2016 presidential election, Hillary Clinton's blame list for loss has continued to grow, and to date includes at least 27 sources responsible for her defeat. And as President Donald Trump pointed out in a tweet in September, that long list doesn't routinely include Clinton herself. Crooked Hillary blames everyone and everything but herself for her election loss. She lost the debates and lost her direction. That was the tweet from Donald Trump back in September 14th. Here's a list of 26 people groups, ideologies, and even those who thought she would win that Clinton blames for her failures to be elected president 1 year ago. The list was compiled by media outlets, including the UK Daily Mail, the BBC, the Daily Wire, and Breitbart News. It's a long list, so here we go. James Comey, Clinton told Today Show on September 13th, her first interview since losing to Trump. I was just dumbfounded, Clinton said. I thought, what is he doing? The investigation is closed. I knew there was no new information, and then it became clear this was not necessary. Absent that, I believe and I think the evidence shows I would have won. All right. She blamed the FBI. She said the FBI wasn't the Federal Bureau of Ifs and Innuendos. She wrote in her book, What Happened? It's the job to find out the facts. Vladimir Putin even got blamed. There's no doubt in my mind that Putin wanted me to lose and wanted Trump to win, Clinton told USA Today. In December, the New York Times obtained audio that revealed Clinton on what she said to her donors. Putin publicly blamed me for the outpouring of outrage by his own people, and that is a direct line between what he said back then and what he did in this election. Oh, the Russians. Clinton has publicly blamed the Russians on numerous occasions, including the CodeCon convention in May when she said that 100,000 Russian agents had filled Facebook with fake news. She told NPR that my path toward November was being disrupted with Russians. You know, we look back now and we see that the only one connected to the Russians was Hillary. She blamed WikiLeaks. She told NPR in September, unfortunately, the Comey letter, aided to great measure by the Russian WikiLeaks, raised all those doubts again. And in her book, What Happened, she said of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, in my view, Assange is a hypocrite who deserves to be held accountable for his actions. She blamed low information voters. You put yourself in the position of a low information voter, and all of a sudden your Facebook feed, your Twitter account is saying, oh my gosh, Hillary Clinton is running a child trafficking operation in Washington with John Podesta, Clinton told the CodeCon convention in May. Electoral College. We have an Electoral College problem, Clinton told Vox, adding that she called for its abolishment since 2000. Breitbart News and other conservative media. Clinton said that her campaign was hampered by the dedicated propaganda channels on the right. Well, that's what I call Fox News, Clinton said. It has outlets like Breitbart and Crazy InfoWars and things like that. They have a mission, Clinton said. They use the rights given to them under the First Amendment to advocate a set of policies that are in their interests, their commercial, corporate, religious interests. Imagine those words coming out of Hillary's mouth, huh? She's like a walking hypocrite. Steve Bannon got blamed as well. Clinton claims donors convinced Trump to hire Bannon, who was his chief strategist for President Donald Trump and is executive chairman of Breitbart News. We will marry that with the RNC of two conditions. You pick Steve Bannon and you pick Kellyanne Conway, said Clinton, who also targets Bannon in the alt-right campaign speech. And then we're in, Trump said. Fine, who cares, right? So Bannon, who's been running Breitbart operation, supplying a lot of untrue, false stories, they married content with delivery and data. Anti-American forces. I think it's important that we learn the real lessons from this last campaign, because the forces that we are up against are not just interested in influencing our elections and our politics. They're going after our economy and our unity as a nation. Oh, that would be her and Obama. Everyone who predicted she could win got blamed. I was the victim of a very broad assumptions that I was going to win. Polls. I think that polls are going to have to undergo some revisions in how they actually measure people. Well, maybe the media shouldn't be lying about them. How about that? Green Party. Jill Stein. In each state, there are more than enough Stein voters to swing the result, just like Ralph Nader did in Florida and New Hampshire in 2000. Clinton wrote in her book. The best assessments of right now are that the polling was not that inaccurate, but it was predominantly national polling, and I won nationally, Clinton said. President Barack Obama got blamed. Non-incumbent Democrat had run successfully to succeed another two-termer since Vice President Martin Van Buren won in 1836, Clinton wrote in her book, What Happened. Okay. White women got blamed. I believe, absent Comey, I might have picked 1 or 2 points up among white women. Let's see, the New York Times. Clinton singled out managing editor Dean Baquet for the media's outlets coverage of her email scandal. They covered it like it was Pearl Harbor, Clinton said. Bernie Sanders got blamed. His attacks caused lasting damage, making it harder to unify progressives in the general election and paving the way for Trump's crooked Hillary campaign. I don't know if that bothered Bernie or not, Clinton said. Bernie supporters got blamed. Even after we find out now how they cheated them, she's still blaming them. Some of his supporters, the so-called Bernie bros, took to harassing my supporters online. It got ugly and more than a little sexist. Brexit leader Nigel Farage. You had Farage campaigning for Trump, Clinton said, and added that Farage's argument for leaving the European Union was a big lie. The big lie is a very potent tool, Clinton said. Misogyny or sexism. CNN's Christine Amanpour at the Women for Women International event in New York in May asked Clinton if misogyny was to blame, and she said, yes, I do think it played a role. I never said I was a perfect candidate, and I certainly never said I ran perfect campaigns, but I don't know who is or did, Clinton said, and at some point it sort of bleeds into misogyny. Facebook got blamed. If you look at Facebook, the vast majority of news items posted were fake. Campaign finance, you had Citizens United come to its full fruition. Clinton told Code Con in May. So unaccountability, money flowing in against me, against other Democrats in a way that we hadn't seen, and then attached to this weaponized information war. The media, American journalist who eagerly and uncritically repeated whatever WikiLeaks dished out during the campaign, could learn from the responsible way the French press handled the hack of Macron. Women who didn't vote got blamed. Clinton then recounts a moment where a mother dragged her daughter by the arm to apologize for not voting. I wanted to stare her in the eyes and say, you didn't vote. How could you not vote? You abdicated your responsibility as a citizen at the worst time, and now you want me to make you feel better? I couldn't help but ask where those feelings of solidarity, outrage, and passion had been during the election, Clinton wrote in her book. White voters. White voters had been fleeing the Democratic Party ever since Lyndon Johnson predicted they would. Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, in what I think of as not only unpatriotic but despicable act of partisan politics, made it clear that if the Obama administration spoke publicly about what they knew on Russia, he would accuse them of partisan politics, of trying to tip the balance toward me. And finally, men. Clinton told Vox that because of the Comey letter, men convinced their partners not to vote for her. You know, all of a sudden the husbands turned to the wives. Psst, I told you she's going to be in jail. You don't want to waste your vote, she said. You know, the boyfriend turns to the girlfriend and says, she's going to get locked up. Didn't you hear? She's going to get locked up. And there you have it. You know what that sounds to me like? Projection. Hillary is projecting. She knows she's going to get locked up. But how about this? Here's all the excuses. And what are we finding out about Hillary? That she was corrupt as could be, that she was the one who was involved with Russia, that 20% of our uranium supply was sold to Russia, that she was involved with child trafficking through Haiti, that she has been involved with money laundering schemes with the Saudis. Not a good person. We dodged a bullet, definitely. All right, moving right along. Anti-Trump Minnesota State Senator Dan Schoen busted for sexual harassment. Multiple women are accusing anti-Trump Minnesota State Senator Dan Schoen of sexual harassment, according to the Minnesota Post. The allegations range from unwanted sexual touching to unsolicited sexting. Curiously, Schoen, a Democrat, had the audacity to accuse then-candidate Donald Trump of sexual assault in October 2016. He admitted to sexual assault. He invoked ISIS when making excuses. He said he was unfit to be president. How is this even worth his praise? Moreover, Schoen bizarrely claimed that he was Republican, that the Republican Party does not do enough to help sexual assault victims. All right, blaming them and so on. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. There's more to the article. You can look this up. The biggest thing is here's just another anti-Trumper. They're having issues and they continually point their finger at Donald Trump, the President Trump, and the very things they're accusing him of are all the crimes that they're committing. So just imagine, we got Adam Schiff. Just imagine what this man must be guilty of. The projection that he is doing. Just imagine the other congresspersons, cowboy hat lady. Imagine her crimes. And you got Nancy Pelosi, who's, you know, been there forever. She's got a string of crimes. Maxine Waters. I mean, there's a lot of criminals in that Democratic Party. Many, many criminals. Now here's an article, very interesting. Sylvester Stallone said Obama was a Manchurian candidate who was put in office to intentionally weaken America. Do you agree with him? Interesting question. I don't know if we would have seen this. Here we go. American actor and filmmaker Sylvester Stallone, thought that the presidential 2016 election would give America the chance to remove something very sinister from the country. The actor, who had expressed his support for Donald Trump, who was still only the presidential candidate at the time, used his Twitter account to send this message. I voted, did you? Got to get the Manchurian candidate out of the driver's seat before we're all soaring off a cliff into oblivion. Be smart. Not long after that, he posted this. The Manchurian Candidate was a movie about a fake president who was put there by foreign enemies to destroy America. Scary concept. Rise up. Okay, and you can read the rest of it because I want to get on to these other stories, but very interesting take on things that is being proposed. For a long time, you only heard this from the conspiracy crowd, those who are deemed wackos for asking questions, but now to see that there are those who are in a bit more of a different arena bringing up those questions or ideas is very, very, shows where we're at in society, how we've progressed, and how there are more truth coming out and people are willing to say a little bit more what they believe. Down in Brazil is getting called a sellout by liberals as her book literally sells out at Amazon. Down in Brazil has gone on one heck of a publicity blitz, including her first Fox interviews with Tucker Carlson. Says the TV saturation was certainly paid off as her tell-all book on the 2016 presidential campaign was sold out at Amazon for the 24-hour period. In bright red letters, the Amazon page for hacks, the inside story of the break-ins and breakdowns that put Donald Trump in the White House reads, temporarily out of stock, order now and we'll deliver when available. Ever since the book from publishers Hachette leaked out her stories of the dysfunctional Democratic National Committee during the 2016 has roiled Washington and national Democratic circles. All right, so there you go. Read about that, but you know, I don't know what to make of Dawn in Brazil. She came across a certain way during the course of the election. You saw her helping Hillary with the questions, and here she is revealing information. Is this who she really is? Or is she just trying to save her butt because she really feels, as she said in there, that she was under such threat? So is this the way that she decided that she was going to keep herself from being suicided? I don't know. Maybe. All right, horror cult inside the terrifying NXIVM slave cult, where women, including a Hollywood actress, are forced to hand over naked pictures, get branded with the founder's initials, and are beaten with paddles. The group's former publicist has claimed female members of this mysterious slave cult are brainwashed, starved, and forced to recruit slaves. A Hollywood actress is among 70 to 80 women trapped in a terrifying secret cult in which members are blackmailed, branded, and beaten with paddles. According to the group's former publicist, Frank Parlow, claims the women feel they cannot leave the cult after leaders allegedly brainwashed them into handing over nude photos, confessions as collateral to prove their lifelong loyalty to the group. All right, much more to the story here. Comes out days after Dynasty. Actress Catherine Oxenberg claims the group has brainwashed a young daughter, India, met with prosecutors in New York and presented evidence against alleged cult leader Keith Raniere. Page 6 reported. Parletto, who was the first to make claims about the cult's alleged sordid activities on his website, the Frank report told Sun Online that the women, apparently including India, are terrified to break free from the cult, fearing their secrets will be made public if they ever leave. NXIVM claims to be a self-help group, but Parletto says there is a dark secret side to the organization. The women's only group led by Raniere is known as DOS, which Parletto says stands for Dominus Obscuriorum, Latin for master over the slave women. He claims that to join, women are brainwashed into hand over black-worthy material such as pornographic pictures or financial information. Once they are a member or a slave, they are allegedly encouraged to recruit new women into their slave pods, stop dating, and be on call 24 hours a day to their master. If they don't recruit enough slaves or respond to their masters fast enough, they're beaten with paddles, Parletto claims. Okay. So another one of those dark aspects to Hollywood that we're hearing coming forward. You know, it's really not too difficult to understand the darkness that is coming out when you just look at the movies that are out there. You can't go into the world and create dark energy that you then put up and project onto screens that people watch and then take those ideas into their imagination so they project that into the world. You can't keep doing that and expect that there's not going to be some sort of repercussion from it. Of course there is. Once you send that dark energy out there, it goes to the next person who sees it, and they send it on, and they send it on, and they send it on. It keeps going. We have to take responsibility, my friends, on what we are creating and what we aren't. And when we get into dealing with these creations of people who are showing themselves to be real degenerates, we need to reconsider some of our ways in which we're entertaining ourselves, because it's not helping us in any way, shape, or form. All right, here's a story. Sources: AT&T, Time Warner under pressure to dump CNN. AT&T and Time Warner are under pressure from the Justice Department to offload CNN to win the Trump administration's approval of their $85 billion merger, according to sources familiar with the discussions. DOJ presented the companies with an ultimatum at a meeting Monday: sell off Time Warner-owned Turner Broadcasting, which includes CNN, as well as networks like TBS and TNT, or jettison DirecTV, which AT&T acquired 2 years ago, one source said, adding that it's clear that the real sticking point for the government is CNN, a frequent target of President Trump's anger. The only reason you would divest CNN would be to kowtow to the president because he doesn't like the coverage. The source said it would send a chilling message to every news organization in the country. Justice Department officials later said the companies themselves offered to sell the CNN, but the DOJ's antitrust division rejected the option. DOJ told the companies that divesting CNN wouldn't necessarily solve the harm to the public caused by the media merger, the official said. AT&T CEO Randall Stephenson pushed back against the narrative. Throughout the process, I've never offered to sell CNN. I have no intention in doing so, he said in a statement. All right, so that battle is going to go on, but CNN is truly fake news. Now, you don't take my word for it. Just do the research yourself. Okay, Council on Foreign Relations in 1921 began keeping information controlled. Later in the 50s, when we had Project Mockingbird and the alphabet agencies, CIA became involved with the media became more controlled. In the 70s, as we've seen from some of the releases of the information from the JFK files, there was CIA involvement within the media, and our media became more controlled. And here it is, 2017 going into 2018, our media is still controlled, and they're telling lies. And we can go find those lies very easily because we're able to look up the truths of things. We now have a historical record where we know what happened, and we can compare the real events that we know happened to the stories that have come out of CNN, and we will find over and over and over lies and myths truths. So they are fake news. NASA discovers a mantle plume almost as hot as Yellowstone's supervolcano that's melting Antarctica from below. A mantle plume producing almost as much heat as Yellowstone's supervolcano appears to be melting part of West Antarctica from beneath. Researchers at NASA have discovered a huge upwelling of hot rock under Marie Byrd Land, which lies between Ross Ice Shelf and the Ross Sea. It's creating vast lakes and rivers under the ice sheet. The presence of a huge mantle plume could explain why the region is so unstable today and why it collapsed so quickly at the end of the last ice age about 11,000 years ago. Mantle plumes are thought to be part of the plumbing systems that brings hot material from the Earth's interior. Once it gets through the mantle, it spreads over the crust, providing magma for volcanic eruptions. The area above the plume is known as a hot spot. Okay, so something for us to keep an eye on. Now, if there's these plumes coming from volcanoes that are there, guess what? Man didn't cause that. They were already there. We're already there. Okay, one last thing today. I wanted to bring this up. John, chapter 8, verse 42 through 47. Something to think about. Jesus said unto them, If God were your Father, ye would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because ye cannot hear my word. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. Which of you convinceth me of sin, and I say the truth? Why do ye not believe me? He that is of God heareth God's words. Ye therefore hear them not, because ye are not of God. Something to contemplate. Read those words over and over. Why would Yeshua say to us that he is from God and we are not? There's a mystery in there. There's a parable in there. There's something to be solved. Go back to the Nag Hammadi library. Read what was going on there. Remember, there's a deeper picture here that we need to understand. The battle is against light and dark. Jesus was here to help us understand this battle. If we don't understand who those we are battling against, then we have a problem. So let's open our eyes to truths. Let's keep exploring, and we'll be all right. That's it, my friends. I love you. Keep loving each other. Talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.